Hello crafty family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY projects, I have selected 10 of my favorite DIYs to get you all inspired for holiday and Christmas crafts. Now I'll be transforming these items from the Dollar Tree to create all of these gorgeous crafts today. Now I chose to go with a blue and silver colorway, but they can all be customized with the colors that make your heart happy. So let's get started. Now this project is a tile accent wood bulb. Now we're going to need one of these wood bulb shapes from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to need a sheet of this blue and white tile from the Dollar Tree. Now we're going to grab our wood bulb and remove all of the hanger pieces. You can repurpose this jute at the end if you like. And I'm going to take that tile, so just go ahead and remove that from the package. And what we're going to do is we're going to lay our wood piece on top and center it on the tile. And then I'm just going to trace it on with a pencil because we will be cutting the same shape out of our tile. Now once it's on there, I like to trace just outside of my marking just in case. So I'm doing that for the whole tile. So you're going to take that top layer of the tile and you want to sit it on top of the wood bulb and you want to hot glue it in place. Now just remember, you want to remove that sticky back. We don't need that for this project. We are going to hot glue this on directly to our wood piece and then trim off any excess that we may have. So now I'm going to take some more of that Admiral Blue acrylic paint and I'm going to just start dabbing it along the edge of the bulb. Now this will give it some more definition on the end and make that bulb shape stand out. Now I really thought that this was great, but I also thought about maybe cutting out the center to add an accent. So this was a last minute decision. I'm taking my utility blade and I am cutting out that center part of the tile. Now once that's removed, we have this open area here, and what I want to do is to go ahead and paint that with this blue paint. Now if you wanted to do this in the beginning, you can paint this beforehand, but since this was kind of like a spur of the moment decision for me, I'm just filling it in carefully, making sure I don't make a mess in the center there. Now once that completely dries, I grabbed one of these beautiful ornaments from the Dollar Tree. You guys, the ornaments at the Dollar Tree this year are just amazing. So I grabbed this one here. I love this silver and it had the sparkle on it. Really beautiful, very wintry to me. So I thought this would be perfect since these are winter themed DIYs. So once I trimmed it down, I'm going to add a nice little heap of hot glue to the back center, and I am centering it in the center of that cutout of this bulb. And here it is, nice and adhered. And now I'm just going to embellish the top with more of those blue beads, some silver pine cones, and some more of that frosted cedar greenery. Now, of course, adding greenery or berries or pine cones is always optional, and you can always customize this to match whatever you like. You can put a large bow at the top, you can wrap it in lights, you could do whatever makes your heart happy. I'm just adding these colors in this blend to kind of make it look very wintry and cozy. I added 3 berries to the top there, and then I'm going to add 2 of those pine cones to the side. These are the silver pine cones. They're at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add those to the side. So I'm going to make another one of those little loop-de-loops with this burlap ribbon, and I'm going to make it at the back so it'll hang really nicely on the wall or on a tree or wherever you decide to display this. So I'm going to hot glue it together and then add it to the back center at the top of this little bulb design, and my gosh, they look so great. Look at it. So now I've placed it on display and it turned out so beautiful. Now I love crafting with these tiles, and these blue and white ones are so gorgeous. Now you could just make these in so many colors, and then I'm sure it'll brighten up your space. Now along with adding a touch of that festive greenery, it makes it all come together. Let me know how you would display these in your home. Now this project is a Let It Snow a large sign. Now we're going to need one of these wood Let It Snow signs from the Dollar Tree. We're going to need one of these 10 packs of Snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to need 2 of these signs from the Dollar Tree. Now I got these back in Easter, but you can connect any 2 signs to have a similar look. So go ahead and take those signs and we're going to go ahead and remove all of those tags. Now we're going to connect these together to make one solid sign, and I'm going to be using the back of these. So just put the decorated side face up and we're going to connect the center. Now I'm using a cut off scrap piece of a paint stick, but you can definitely use craft sticks to join this. I just think the paint stick is much neater and much sturdier. So add a generous amount of that wood hot glue to that stick and place it right in the center. Now when you do join it together, you want to press these two signs together tightly to make sure you don't have any gaps on the other side, and this is what it will look like. So now that that's done, we can go ahead and paint our sign. Now what I decided to use was white chalk paint. I only need one really nice coat of this, so I'm going to be using white chalk paint for this project. Now I'm just going to spread this chalk paint easily all over the back of the sign, just giving one nice, really clean coat. Now here is my sign all nice and painted. It looks amazing. So now just let this sit to completely dry. Now while that is drying, what we're going to do is grab our Let It Snow sign. Now what we're going to do with this is we are going to be separating the words out from the sign, and to do this is really easy. Just take a cutting mat and a utility blade. You can get this from the Dollar Tree, and just carefully score in between the letters of the words, and each one of the words should easily come apart after scoring it a few times. And now we can take all of our words and lay it out on our paper, and we are going to be painting these, and I'm using this Admiral Blue color by Apple Barrel. Now I'm just going to apply this all over the surface of the letters, and don't forget you need to get those sides too because they will be showing in the project. And here are all of my words all nice and painted, and let those dry. So once everything is dry, we can lay it out. Here's our sign and all of our words. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to lay out our words on our sign. We want to make sure that they are nice and spaced evenly on the surface. And then I like to start adhering the words by starting with the middle word. So I'm adding some hot glue to the back of that and just carefully placing it on the board and making sure it's spaced evenly between the top and the bottom. And then I can go ahead and apply each one of these side words as well, just adding them with that glue the same way, adding the snow, and then I'm going to add the word let on the other side. And once all the words are applied, here is what it looks like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more of that craft paper and I am going to use it to cover the back. Now it does have that glittery design. I just think finishing the back of the projects just makes it look so professional, and especially if you plan to gift or sell these, you definitely want to cover this. It just tells your customer that you've taken that extra step and care in your project. So I'm applying the glue in just small segments at a time, or sections at a time, and as I add it, I'm going to press that craft paper on it and just make sure it gets a nice tight bond all the way down the board. And here is what the back will look like covered. So now all you have to do is to take your utility blade and glide it along the edge of the sign closely. Just trim off all of that excess craft paper for a nice even finished trim around the edge. And here is what it looks like. I just think it looks so clean and professional. So now that that's done, we're going to grab those snowflakes, and what I first want to do is cover those holes on the side of the sign. And what I'm doing is just going to glue one of the snowflakes on each end of that sign. Now once that's done, you can add some more snowflakes however you like. I know I trimmed a few of those down just to add them here and there. I did not want to over embellish this sign since it will be sitting on a large table or buffet, and it will be surrounded by other decor for my final setting. I definitely didn't want to over embellish this because I know there will be lots of decor around it. So I took a half of a snowflake and I added it above the end, and I'm also going to add another piece of the snowflake right next to the eye. You can add them wherever you like in your sign. This is just where I chose to do mine, and I think that this was just enough embellishing that I needed to do. Now if you don't want this to be a table sign like mine, you can definitely take it and you can add some a hanger to the back with just some jute twine. Just add jute twine to the back and you'll have a nice hanger for this. But since I have this as a table sign, I'm not going to add it for this project, but it is now complete. And here it is, you guys. Oh my goodness, I love how this turned out. Now, it was so really easy to separate the words, and it looks so great mixed in with all those snowflakes. And I love the color blend between the snowflakes and the lettering. It's just so bright and festive. You guys have to let me know, how would you display this large sign in your home? This project is a holiday bulb wall decor. We're going to need one of these round signs from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to need some 16 count mini bulbs from the Christmas section at the Dollar Tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my round wood sign and then I'm going to go ahead and remove the string at the top, and don't discard it, keep that. We're going to be putting that back in once we are done. Now we are going to put a base coat on here. I'm just using some white acrylic paint. I just want to put a nice one even layer is plenty enough, just making sure you cover the entire front of your sign. Now here it is. It's all nice and dry, and now we can start customizing our decor. So go ahead and grab your 2 packages of your miniature bulbs. I'm just cutting them apart because I'm going to be using all of these in my sign today. And I chose to go with blue and silver because that is my theme for today. But you can use any color combination that makes your heart happy. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of them from the packages. And how I decided to put these on here is with the bulb, the inner part facing in and the bulb part facing out. And I'm putting them around the edge of the sign, rotating between the blue and the silver. So once I have an idea of the layout, I'm going to take my hot glue and I'm just going to start adding those bulbs around the edge of my sign. And don't drop them like I did. Just go ahead and continue wrapping them around, making sure that you are rotating the silver and the blue all the way around. Now, as I approach the end of my round, I did notice that 2 of the same colors are bumping up next to each other, which is not a problem. I always start at the top of my sign because I am going to be adding some greenery, and you won't even notice that that is there. Now for the center, what I decided to do is use one of the star toppers at the Dollar Tree. I got one in silver, and so I'm just kind of using my wire clippers to separate it apart, and these just snap together and you actually end up with 2 star pieces, which is great. So I just take half of that star piece and I'm going to center it on the front of my sign. Now, you could definitely use some wording or anything like that. I was actually looking for the word snow and couldn't find one that fit, but I did come across this star. I love using this in DIY, so I thought that this would be perfect for this sign. So I'm just going to hot glue this little star right in the center. I love this silver star, and it gives a nice little shimmer to the project. Now once that's done, I'm going to use a bundle of greenery at the top. Now this was some clearance greenery from last year that's all zip tied together. It's kind of a frosted greenery with some blue berries blended into it. Really cute. So in order to attach it, I am just going to drill a hole at the very top of my sign very carefully, not hitting those bulbs. And this is just to feed a zip tie through. You guys know I love to repurpose things and reuse things. Now you can certainly hot glue your greenery on, but I like to just do the zip tie method just to secure it, so I'll able to kind of snip it off and replace it whenever I feel like it, or I can repurpose it in another project, and it just works out in the end. So once you just feed your greenery through, get it nice and even, you can tighten your zip tie on the back, and now you have a beautiful flow of greenery at the top. Now the Dollar Tree has strands of these little pine cones in silver, natural, and frosted. So I clipped a few of the silver ones, and I'm just going to simply hot glue 2 of the silver pine cones up in the center of my greenery bundle to complete this look, and I think that this is gorgeous. Now how easy was that to make this beautiful decor piece? Now I really do love the shine of the star along with the blue, and it's coupled with the greenery that has that winter blueberry and frost. It just makes the perfect combination. Now I do hope that you all give this easy project a try. Now this project is a wood and bead Christmas tree. I'm going to need one of these wood trees from the Dollar Tree and some blue and silver gift wrap from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to take our tree, remove those tags, and we're going to grab our blue and silver wrapping paper. Now, I was very impressed with this wrapping paper and how thick it was. And so when I originally cut it out, I cut a large piece because I thought I would have to do a double layer, but to my surprise, this wrapping paper is such great quality. I only needed half as much as I thought I would. So I'm going to cut a piece that's big enough to cover my entire tree, and to adhere the wrapping paper to the tree, I am using a classic school glue stick. I found this to be one of the best methods for me to adhere paper type items and scrapbook paper to different items with minimal rippling or bubbling. So I'm applying it in sections and then laying that wrapping paper on top and just smoothing it out with my hand. And then I grabbed my ball of jute twine you'll see me using to kind of help smooth it all out and get all of those edges. And then I'm flipping it over and adding a little bit more of that glue stick to those edges of the tree, just making sure all the edges are covered. And once it's all smoothed out, you're ready to trim it off. So again, I'm taking my utility blade and just carefully going around the shape of the tree with the utility blade, just trimming it nice and easy, taking your time, and then carefully removing that wrapping paper from all of those trimmed edges. And then go ahead and hit those ends of the pieces just to make sure you get those scraps. And here is the design on the tree. Now what I decided to do is I decided to add some of these silver beads. You can get these from the Dollar Tree in multiple colors, and I had silver on hand. Now I'm following along with the design of the wrapping paper. So I'm going to glue the edge of those beads to the back of the tree, and I'm following along that pattern of the tree, wrapping those beads around, spacing them about an inch or inch and a half apart, just gluing them at that top wrap around every time I make a circle around. Now you can cut these into strips and glue them, but I just found this to be so much easier, and then you don't have to use as much glue. So once you wrap it all the way around, secure that end to the bottom of the back, and look you guys, it's nice and trimmed out with this beautiful beading. So at the top, I decided to add a snowflake. So I took one of those snowflakes and I trimmed it down so it wouldn't be as overwhelming. I'm adding some glue to the center and adding it to the top for a snowflake, and that goes right into my winter theme. Now I did want to add an additional touch to this. I thought it would be awesome. After I took this, I went ahead and took a ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and just add this to the back. This will be a hanging piece for the tree. Now I use this on all of my other projects. This is the perfect piece to actually hang it in the back. You can use jute twine, or you can add this little ribbon. So I'm going to add this near the top. So in case you want to hang it on the wall, you want to hang it on a tree, you want to lean it on like a shelf leaner or a shelf display, you could do it any way that makes your heart happy. Now, as a final touch, I am taking some of the little wire lights or fairy lights from the Dollar Tree to give this the final accent. And I think that this just totally sets this project off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unravel those wire lights, and I'm just going to twist it around the top at that first set of beads just to kind of secure it in place. I'm not going to hot glue these. I'm just going to kind of wrap it around since they're wire, and I'm following along the pattern that I applied my beads in to apply those wire lights. I'm just going to continue wrapping it around all the way to the bottom, following that same pattern. And then once you run out, you can actually just add this to the back of your tree. Now you can use the peel and stick Velcro squares from the Dollar Tree to do this. But what I'm going to do just temporarily is to actually tape it into place. You just want to use a good quality tape, and you want to tape the battery pack in, and then for those end pieces that you wrapped around that battery pack, just cross those with another piece of tape. Now the Velcro squares are awesome to use. I actually couldn't locate them at the time I did this project, but I would have definitely used those if I wanted to keep these long term. And so when I turn on the lights, look at it, it lights up on the front and it has a backlighting, which makes this project awesome. I just love this one. And here it is, you guys, a sparkly blue tree to add to this collection. Now I do love how this turned out, and the lights are definitely the star of the show.
This project is a set of holiday candle holders. We're going to need 2 of these candle holders from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to need 2 of these mini wreaths from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to start off with the wreaths. I think these are so super cute. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the tags from each of them. They're labeled mini wreaths, but they're also used as candle rings. So what I'm going to do with mine is, in order to incorporate the blue theme, I painted some wood beads that I got from Dollar Tree, blue, and I'm going to add them to each one of the holly bunches on my little mini wreaths. So I'm just going to hot glue these in place in clusters of 3. So I'm just going to add one at a time right in the center of those little holly wreaths. This makes a perfect little accent for the little blue berries and incorporating them into my blue DIYs. Now here's what one looks like. Just add them to all of the other clusters on this wreath, and here is what it looks like. So super cute. Now once this one is done, just repeat the process for your second one, and now both of the little wreaths have the little blue berries incorporated into them. Now set those to the side and grab your candle holders, and we're also going to use 2 LED candles from the Dollar Tree as well. Now I did want to slightly embellish my candle holders. All I'm going to do is use some blue ribbon, which I did get from the Dollar Tree. Now I made these into little bows. If you're not a bow person, you don't have to add these. I just wanted to have another blue accent, and no worries, I will walk you through how I made this little bow. So I bought this ribbon from the Dollar Tree. This is one of those mega rolls of ribbon. If you guys see these, they have them in assorted colors. Just grab some. It's a great deal. So I'm going to stick the tail of the ribbon through 2 of my fingers here, and I'm going to wrap it around in like a figure 8 around my thumb and my pointing finger, how many ever times I want loops on my bow. Now I think on this particular bow I wanted 4 loops on each side. Now once you get 4 loops on each side, cut a long tail and then take that ribbon, wrap it around the whole bundle as shown here, and then take the tail and wrap it through that loop you just made around that entire bundle. Now when you wrap it through, you want to just pull it really tight. You want to pull both of those loose tails really tight, and this just kind of ties it all together in the center, forming the 2 tails, and then you can just carefully remove that from your fingers once you have formed your bow. Now here is my little bow, and all I'm doing now is I'm cutting the tails in like a little dovetail. So I'm folding it in half and then cutting it down. Now I have a little dovetail at the end, and you have a cute little loopy bow that you could use for your crafts. Now I'm just going to grab my other candle holder. You want to decide what side you want your little bow on. And I'm going to be using just a tiniest dot of hot glue on the back. If you want this permanent, you could definitely use like E6000 or Gorilla Glue. But since I may be removing these bows and repurposing these in other projects, I didn't want to use too much hot glue. That way it'd be easier to remove if I ever wanted to create another project with them. So here's the little bow on both of my little candle holders. So now what we want to do is just add our little mini wreaths that we added our little berries to. Take your candle and insert it through the bottom of that wreath and sit that wreath right on top of your little candle holder. Now you have your pops of blue here to incorporate into your blue witchery DIYs. This one is so fun and easy to do. And here they are on display, you guys. I think these are just so cute. Now adding those 3 little berries to the holly leaves is the perfect accent for the blue projects. And now this little pop of color for the little bows is so really sweet. Now I hope that you give this really easy DIY a try.
I really hope that you all are enjoying these crafts so far, but I wanted to pop in really quick and let you all know that you could follow me on all of these platforms as CraftDee. So now let's jump right into that next DIY.
Now this project is a tile tree decor piece. Now we're going to need 3 styles of these peel and stick tiles from the Dollar Tree, and I have silver, blue, and then I have a gray and white. We're also going to need one of these wood planks from the Dollar Tree and Crafter Square section. We're going to start off with that wood plank. Go ahead and remove any stickers, and we're going to give this a nice coat of paint. I decided to go with some white acrylic paint, really quick and easy. Just going to go ahead and spread that evenly on the top and the sides of my wood plank and sit that to the side to completely dry. Now while that dries, we're going to work on our tree. So I have a piece of craft paper I folded in half, and I'm going to draw out a half of a tree. So I'm just using my ruler to kind of draw out half of a triangle on the fold. Now once I do that, I'm going to cut it out with my scissors. You can make any adjustments you need to after you cut it out, but this one turned out perfect. So I'm going to use this as my template. So I'm going to unpackage my first tile. Now I wanted my tallest tree to be the blue tree. So I'm going to be using this template on here directly on. You want to make sure that center seam of your tree is in alignment with one of the seams on the tiles to make sure the pattern is really centered and even. And then just follow up after you trace it on with a pair of scissors, cutting it out very carefully. And here's one of our trees, and it does have that plastic backing. Just go ahead and peel that off and sit it to the side. Don't throw that away. We will be using that later. So now that we have our tallest tree, go ahead and grab your next tile, and I'm going to sit my tree right on top, and you notice I'm going about 1.5 inches off of the bottom. This will create a second tree at a different height. So we're just going to trace that on and cut that out as well. And now you have another tree at a different height. Now we're going to grab our third tile and take that second tile tree that we cut out. We're going to make that one about 1.5 inches lower below the line. We're going to trace that one on, cut that out as well, and now we have 3 heights of our trees for our project. So I'm going to be using some of these large craft sticks that I had on hand to be the supports for the back. Now they are a little long, so we will be cutting them down, and they're easy to cut with just a pair of scissors. You want to make sure that the cut end is at the bottom of the tree because we want that to be the flattest part, because we want our trees to be standing up and we don't want them to kind of buckle at the bottom at all. So once they're cut to size, add a line of hot glue down the center of each one of those craft sticks and place it down the center of the back of each one of the trees. You're just going to go ahead and repeat this for all 3 of your trees until they have a stick on the back. Now in order to help these stand, I am using some of these tumbling tower blocks that I have, and I'm using 2 blocks per tree. So what I'm going to end up doing is stacking these one on top of the other and hot gluing them together to form a little stand. We're going to do this for all 3 of the trees to have a double stacked tumbling tower block set at the bottom. And then we're going to adhere that block set to the bottom of that craft stick. And you can sit your tree up to make sure everything is nice and flush. And we're going to glue one of those to the back of each of the trees. So now we're going to grab those little plastic pieces that were peel and stick on the back of the tile. We're going to use this to cover up all of our work on the back, because you know I love to finish the back of my projects, so why not use what came with it? So you see I just press that piece against the back of it and cut out the little square where the block is, and I'm just going to take the sticky side down now on the back of the tree and lay it on the back over the craft stick, covering that back raw edge of the tile. And as you can see, it covers it up perfectly. Everything is nice and hidden, and you could do any kind of trimming you need after that. We're going to do that for all 3 of our trees, and you can see now that the backs are all nice, neat, and covered.
So now what we're going to do is figure out the order of our trees and then grab our wood plank. Now I did want to add feet to my wood plank, and to do this I'm using these large wood beads I got from some clearance garland at Walmart. Now Walmart does have these wood beads in garland back this year. If you see them, grab them. They're such a good deal. I think they're only about $6.98 and you get a really long piece. So I used a couple of those beads to be the feet on my tray, and they worked out perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is sit all of my trees on my plank. Now you could just let these sit, but I wanted to glue mine down. So I'm adding some hot glue on the bottom. Now my smallest tree is up on the front row, and then I'm going to glue my medium tree on the opposite side, kind of about an inch behind that one. And then at the back is the tallest tree, and that will be at the back center. And I'm leaving them pretty spaced out because I wanted to add accessories to my tray along with my trees, but you can place them however you like. So once the glue has settled, this is what it looks like. I like that it's spaced out and gives it a little bit more dimension. So now you have a choice if you want to add something to your tray. You can add clips of greenery, you can add little votive candles, you could add fairy lights, or you can leave it as is. It's all up to you. And here is my triple tree set on display, and I think it just turned out so awesome. Now for my display, I did add the battery votives and some clips of greenery to the base for that sweet wintry vibe. And I love using these large beads as feet too. Now be on the lookout for the large beaded garland at Walmart this year. Now let me know what you think about this project in the comments below. This project is a winter mitten decor piece. We'll need one of these blue oven mitts from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to use a white piece of cloth or fabric of your choice. So I'm going to take my oven mitt, and I noticed that the top is cut at a slant and it was a little longer than I would like. So I am taking my fabric scissors and I'm averaging that I need to cut off about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to cut right through the oven mitt, right across the top, making the straightest cut as possible. And so this looks good. So this is what I am going with, and I am starting with my project. Now I have a piece of cloth here. This is just a piece of terry cloth, and I'm just going to wrap it around the top, making sure it overlaps. And then once you get that piece, you're going to take it with the raw side out, and I'm just going to kind of join the ends together. Now I'm just going to hot glue these together, run a bead, and then stick that seam together where it's snug around the top of the glove, because you want it to go around the top of the little mitten glove. So you want to trim off any excess on that seam so you'll have less bulk. And then just go ahead and check it out by flipping it inside out, and everything looks great. So go ahead and make the outside seams showing. We're going to bundle this up, and we're going to stick this halfway inside of the mitten. And then once it's in half wide, fold it over the edge. And now you have a little white trim on there that may look like fur. Now, if you can get a hold of the microfiber car cloths from the Dollar Tree, or even the microfiber dust pads, you can use those. But I'm using what I had on hand. So once that's all situated at top, make a nice thin bead of that hot glue around the edge, and just stick that fabric down and make sure it's secure. You can even add some on the inside as well. Now once that's all done, I'm going to take my foam board and I'm going to do a rough tracing of the glove shape onto the foam board. Now once you have your rough shape, go ahead and just cut that entire piece out of your foam board. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that shape off about 1/4 inch inside my rough tracing. So now I have a glove shape in foam board. Now this is actually a little large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around with my utility blade, and I'm going to trim off just a little more so it will fit snugly inside of my little mitten shape.
Now once that's done, what I'm going to do is stick it in, fold your thumb part in and stick it in. And then once you get down in there, you can work that thumb back out into the little thumb area of your little mitten and stick the whole thing in. Now what this does is allow your mitten to have a little bit of stability and stiffness, so you'll be able to decorate it without it being bulky or bending on you. So I'm grabbing a bunch of filler. I have pine cones, greenery, some berries, some blue poinsettias. Just grab what you have on hand. Now I'm going to take some of these pine picks. The dark ones are from Amazon and the frosted ones are from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the pine. This will be the base for my filler. So I'm putting a bunch of pine into my little mitten. Then I'm adding some white little cedar branches, and I'm also going to use some of the pine cone. I didn't want the red berries. I want to stick with my neutral theme here, so I'm just adding the pine, adding some of the neutral colored berries in there. You guys, there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm stuffing this. You can just stuff it and add to it to your heart's content. The idea is just to have fun with it, make it fun and festive, and decorate it however you like to fit into your theme. So now I'm sticking some of those little poinsettias in there that are blue, and I'm taking the pine cones and I'm mounting them to a regular skewer. And what this will do is allow you to stick those into the bundle without having to hot glue it in. Now, if you wanted to hot glue each one of these things in, you can. When I was sticking these in, they were actually going into that foam in the foam board, so they kind of nestled themselves in place. So once you have a bundle that you're happy with, go ahead and grab some more of that beading that's left over. And I decided to add a trim to the bottom of my white trim on my mitten. So I'm just going to apply this with hot glue. So I'm just going to add a bead and then put the actual wood beads on top of that bead of hot glue. I'm going to do this all the way around on that trim. Now here is what it looks like. I think this was the perfect accent to add the beading and well defines it. Now I still thought I needed something else, and that was a snowflake to fit into our winter theme. So I'm going to add a snowflake right on top of the bottom of the mitten as shown here. I think that this was the perfect final touch for this project. And now look at it. It's adorable. You can hang or you can lean it on display. Now you guys, check it out. Oh my goodness, I love this piece. Now this project is a merry winter holiday sign. We're going to need some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree. We'll need 5 of these wood bell cutouts from the Dollar Tree. Some wrapping paper in blue and silver from the Dollar Tree. Some foam board in black and white from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to need some wood beads. Now I picked these up from Family Dollar and I cut a piece from a long strand, but the Dollar Tree does sell shorter strands and loose wood beads as well. So we are going to start off with our tumbling tower blocks to make our frame for our project. Now I'm going to be making 2 sets of 10 blocks. So I am taking my carpenter square, my L-shaped ruler from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put 10 blocks in a row. Now I'm going to join these together with my wood hot glue. You could definitely use wood glue if you like, but since I'm going to be bonding this long strip to a piece of foam board for extra stability, I'm going to stick with my wood hot glue for this project. So I'm just going to join these end to end, flipping them as I go and wiping away any of that hot glue that oozes out of the seam until you have one long 10 block strip. Just repeat this until you have 2. Now the next strip that we are going to make is a 5 blocks together, and we're going to make 2 of those, and here they are ready to go. So we're going to take our 5 block set, and then we're going to form an L shape on the ruler with the longer piece at the bottom in the corner. Now what we're going to do is join it together with that wood hot glue. Just squeeze them together, wipe away that glue, and then flip it over and add that other 10 block set into that corner. Now once that's nice and bonded, just slide it right over and add that last 5 block set to the end to close in your frame. Now once that has had some time to sit and totally bond, here is your completed frame. So what we're going to do now is we are going to be painting this. So I chose to use some white chalk paint for my project because it works best when covering the blocks and all of those seams. Now what I'm going to do now is I like to start painting my frames starting on the inside first, just getting those inside corners. Then I'll do the outside. And then once I do that, I'm going to paint the cover area and the front area of the frame, and then the frame is done. But what we're going to do now is we're also going to paint those bells. So I'm painting the outside edges and the surfaces of all 5 of my bells as well. Now here are all my pieces all nice and dry. So we're going to grab our frame and we are going to also grab our foam board for the next step. Lay your frame on top of the foam board where it matches up on all the sides. And then I'm going to grab my pencil, and what I'm going to do is I am going to trace the bottom of the frame onto that foam board. Now, making sure your surface is protected, I'm going to go ahead and take my metal ruler and my utility blade, and I'm just going to cut that foam board out along that line that I just traced. And so now we have a piece of foam board, and we're just going to go ahead and make sure that that fits our frame. Now it was too long on one side, but what I always like to do is trim off about 1/4 inch on 2 sides of the frame, just to make sure that it does not show outside of the frame. We want that foam board to be hidden in the back. Now the 2 shorter sides were already short enough, so I'm only going to trim 1/4 inch off the top of this piece. So we checked it and now it's good to go. So now we're going to grab that beautiful wrapping paper from the Dollar Tree. I love this blue and silver paper. It's such great quality too. I was so impressed. So I'm going to measure how big I need to cut it, and I'm going to cut a piece slightly larger than the foam board piece. Now once I do that, I'm going to lay my foam board on top. I just want to make sure the sizing is accurate, and it is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a regular school glue stick, and I'm just going to go around the edge of the foam board with the glue stick, and then flip it over and glue it onto that wrapping paper and press down. Once it's adhered, turn it around and just keep smoothing it out along those edges until it's nice and bonded. The next thing you're going to do is just go ahead and take your utility blade and just cut off all the excess wrapping paper that sticks out from the edge of that foam board. And then once it's all cut off, just flip it back over. Make sure you work out any wrinkles or anything on that wrapping paper as you were working. Okay, so now what we're going to do is grab that beaded trim. So we're going to take our beads, and what I wanted to do is kind of have a swag across the display area of my foam board. So here I'm just kind of eyeballing how long my swag needs to be. And before I cut it, I like to hot glue the beads on the cut end in place. So when I cut it, they stay in place and I don't have to worry about beads going everywhere. So now I'm just going to shift the beads down where I have a little tail of that jute twine left, and then I'm just going to make any adjustments. Now grabbing your little bells and making your adjustments from there is a good idea. You want to make sure your bells will hang where you want them and also allow room for your frame, making sure there's about 1 inch of space around the edge so your frame will go around there without beads getting in the way. So now I'm going to cut some 4 or 5 inch pieces of jute twine for each one of the bells. I'm going to thread them through each of them, and then I'm just going to go back and just tie them onto the bells. So now what I'm doing is placing them along the bead strand. Now I am kind of eyeballing this, but it ranged about every 6 or 7 beads. I did place one of the bells. So you just want to eyeball this and make sure they're all evenly spaced out. Now remember, they are going to be in a swag, so there will be space between them because they will slightly flare out. But once I tie them on there with a single knot and they look okay, I'm going to go back and make sure it's a double knot so it is permanently on there. And once those double knots are tied, clip off all of those tails that you have left over. And here are all of our bells nice and attached to our beaded strand. So now we're going to take our foam board piece and we're going to be attaching our little swag to the foam board. Now we're attaching it about 1.5 inches from that top edge. It's about an estimate. And then we're going to glue that jute twine piece about maybe 3/4 of an inch of it on each side. We don't want it too long because this is going to be hidden under the frame. And once that glue solidifies, place your frame on there, making sure that it'll measure and fit correctly. And when it does, go ahead and take your glue and run a bead of glue all the way around the edge of that foam board piece and place your frame on top. Once it's in place, press each side down firmly so that foam board is securely attached to your frame. So we're going to flip it over now, and you see now we have that little label there. I'm just going to remove that to get that out of the way. And we have the jute twine pieces sticking out from the side, so we're just going to wrap those around the back, and this will secure them in place. Now I'm also going to place a piece of I have some scrap paper here. I'm going to add some glue to that and place it over the jute twine. Now, not only does this add extra stability for your beads, but it does make it look nice and neat on the back of your projects. Now, if you wanted these to hang, add a jute twine string, but since mine is just going to be a shelf sitter, I'm not going to add a hanging string to my piece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a word to my bells. I bought these blue peel and stick letters from the Dollar Tree, and I just wanted mine to say Mary. You can add any word combination that you like, and you can adjust the size of your frame to how long you want yours. So we added Mary to the front of them. The bells are nice and hanging there, looking nice, and it looks great. So now what I'm doing is taking some of these pine picks that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. These are the ones with the frosted snow, and I'm taking 4 of them, and I'm going to kind of form them into a top piece, crisscrossing them as shown here. Now, once they're in a position that I like to take one of the Dollar Tree zip ties and zip tie it right in the center so it'll keep that same position, and just go ahead and clip off that end. So now what we're going to do is adhere it to the center of the top of the frame. I'm adding a bead of glue across the middle and then placing it right in the center of your frame and press and hold until it bonds. Now in the center, I wanted to accent it with a little frosted pine cone. You could take these from one of the Dollar Tree bundles, but I picked up an 8-pack from Dollar General for only $1, and I just added 1 to the center of the pine bundle as shown here. Now what I also wanted to add are some holly leaves. So I clipped a couple of holly leaves from a Dollar Tree Christmas bundle, and I'm going to add 1 on each side of that pine cone. And then to go along with the theme, I'm taking 2 of my blue painted beads, or my little faux berries, and I'm going to add 1 on each side of the pine cone right on top of that little holly leaf. Now, as a final touch to the project, I made these tiny little bows, and I'm going to add those little blue bows on the top of each one of my little bells to finish off the project. You're just going to hot glue those in place right on top of each one of those little bells. And here is what it looks like. It's so adorable. And now you can enjoy this beautiful piece. Now I have to say that I really love this piece in blue, and all of the little accents look amazing on this decor display. And that final little touch of greenery gives it all of that winter vibe with the pine cone and the berries. Now you all have to let me know in the comments what you think of this project. Now this project is a set of holiday wood slice decor pieces. We're going to need two packages of the wood slices, and you're only going to need 3. And we're going to need some of these blue poster letters from the Dollar Tree.
Now we only need 3 of these slices and they come 2 in a pack. So go ahead and remove 3 of those slices and set the other one to the side. Now what I decided to do is to make joy on these planks. So I'm laying them out on my paper and I'm going to go ahead and put a coat of some white chalk paint on there. Now be careful when you do apply this chalk paint, you don't want to go all the way out to the edge. You want to come within 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And here is what it looks like. You want that bark and some of that wood to be showing around the edge for a little accent. Now once these have sat to dry, you can decorate them, and this is where those blue letters come into play. I was so excited to find these since I knew I was going to do more blue projects, and you don't have to use these letters. You can use the black ones or you can use a cutting machine if you have one, but I'm just going to put the J-O-Y on my wood planks, and this is what I wanted. Now you guys, I have done joy before on some of my projects, and I usually use this little quote or comma to finish out my J, but you guys, they did not have the opposite size of this little quote to use on my J this time. So I was a little bummed about that. It doesn't come in the blue, but it comes in black. So what I decided to do is just grab a letter that I knew I wouldn't be using very often. So it's usually like Q or X or something like that. So I grabbed a Q, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of figure a little loop-a-dee-loop out of my little Q just to finish off my letter J, because now I'm happy. It looks like a full letter J and I can continue on with my project. So now I'm just going to take some of this burlap ribbon and I'm just going to cut some pieces to make loops, hanging loops on the back, and I'm going to cut 3. Now once I cut those 3, I'm just going to loop it around as shown here, and I'm going to add a dot of hot glue to the end just to secure it in place. We're going to do this for all 3 pieces of your burlap ribbon. Now once that's done, we are just going to center it right at the top of the wood slice, making sure it's centered on the letter so it will hang. If you want to hang these, you want to make sure it will hang even, and do this for all of your wood slices, and here they are. So now just flip them over, and just to secure them, I'm just going to put 1 staple for my staple gun in the back where that ribbon is to make sure it is secure and doesn't move out of place. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of embellishment to each one of my slices. I have some little frosty cedar pieces and some blue beads that I already previously painted. So I'm just going to add 2 bundles of my little cedar pieces just to go together to make a bundle for the top of each one of my slices and hot glue those together. Now once that is done, we're going to add some hot glue to the top of the wood slice and then add one of the bundles to the top center right above the letter on each one of those wood slices. Now once those are in place, then we're going to take the beads. I'm going to take 2 beads and I'm going to put 2 beads in the center of each one of those pieces of greenery to look like little berries. I think this is the perfect little accent. We're going to do this for all 3 of our wood slices. And then once that's done, I noticed that some of the natural wood was still showing with the hole in the bead. So this is where I'm taking more of my Admiral Blue color, and then I'm just dabbing it on the inside of each one of those beads with a little fine tipped paintbrush so it's not as noticeable in the final project. And once that dries, everything looks amazing, and now you can decorate with these. And how easy was that to make these cute wood slice decor pieces? Now you can make any word combinations that you love and even create these in a different color too. Now I really do hope that you give this easy DIY a try. This project is a set of gift decor pieces. Now I'm going to be using one of these blue dish towels from the Dollar Tree and also the furry white cloth from the automotive section at the Dollar Tree. I also have a scrap piece of burlap I had on hand, and then grab any assorted ribbon and vinyl of your choice. Now for my gifts, I am using pieces of styrofoam. This is leftover from different shipments and packages that I've received, and I've just cut it in different sizes to make all of my different gifts, but you could use boxes or whatever you love. So I'm starting off with my largest piece, and that's the one I'm going to cover with that furry microfiber type of cloth in the automotive section. You can definitely trim this down to reduce the bulk, and I did do some trimming on this, and you're just going to wrap this like a standard gift, just hot gluing along the way and making sure you pull everything tight as you go and folding in any raw edges so you don't get any of that little furry residue left over and going everywhere. So I glued the bottom, but then now at the top I decided to make it like a little pouch or package, and then I'm going to grab some rubber bands and then tie the top in a rubber band to have like a gift bag effect, like, you know, a little puffy little swirly ribbon thingy. I love how this looks when it turns out like this. So now that we got that base done, we're going to work on our second one, and this one I'm going to use the blue dish towel from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use my tall rectangular piece of styrofoam for this. Again, I'm just trimming it down to size and then hot gluing everything in place, just making sure everything is nice and tight, trimming those edges and tucking in those ends, folding them as if you were folding a standard gift. I think this is just so simple and easy to do, and I wanted some fabric covered gifts for my decor and not paper, because if I can use them year to year, not worry about them tearing or getting damaged, because they are fabric, they would be a lot more durable over the years. So I'm just going to finish this one up. Now this one's all hot glued and ready to go. Now we're going to start working on our third one. Now I wanted to cover it in burlap, but I didn't want to see the styrofoam through it, so I'm just taking that craft paper I used earlier to paint, and I'm going to cover up that little styrofoam block first, and then I'm going to cover it up with that burlap so it kind of blends in and you don't have to worry about seeing that styrofoam through your little burlap piece. So I'm just going to trim it down to size, and I'm going to just wrap this one just like a gift, the same that I did for my other two. So now I have my 3 gift templates ready to customize. Now for the little blue one, I decided to use some of this silver ribbon. Now this was from Dollar General, but Dollar Tree has the same glitter ribbon that you could use. And I'm just gonna wrap this in a cross kind of design. So I go around the top first and then the center where I form a cross in the middle. And then I'm gonna do like almost like a stacked type of bow in the middle, making each ribbon piece 1 inch longer than the last, and then pinching them in the center to make a little bow and hot gluing them in the center. Now I'm doing that for 3 layers, and then once you get all 3 of your loops done, you're just going to stack one on top of the other to make a cute little stacked bow. Now once you do have your little stacked bow here, you're going to grab another little piece of ribbon to kind of wrap that center around it just like this, and then you could just hot glue the entire bundle to the center of your gifts. And here's what this little gift looks like. I think it looks so stylish and sophisticated. So for the next gift, I could not find a blue ribbon to match my project. So what they did have is the blue glitter vinyl at the Dollar Tree. And this is not just for cutting projects, you guys. I'm going to use this as ribbon in mine. So I rolled it up and then just kind of flattened it to make it like you would do a toilet paper roll. And then I cut it into strips to make my ribbon. This worked perfectly for this project. I'm so glad that I found this. I'm going to make this into a cross shape right on top of my burlap package. I really love this color combination. It's got some neutrals, and then it's got that pop of blue glitter that's really subtle. So I really love that. So now I'm going to take one of these bundles from the Dollar Tree with the greenery and the little white berries again, and I'm just going to glue that right on the front to customize this gift. This kind of blends into that blue silver neutral kind of thing I have going on here, so I'm going to do that for that one. Now for our large little gift box one, we're going to do the same thing with that blue glitter vinyl. We're just going to wrap that one around as well like a little gift, and then we're going to cross in the middle. Now for the middle of this one, we are going to accent that one as well with more of that greenery and berry combinations that I got from Dollar Tree in the center. And then I decided to wrap some jute twine around my hand and make a little loopy little bow with the jute twine for the center for that little natural effect. And then I glued that right in the center to make this cute little presentation for this gift. Now for the blue gift, all I'm doing is sticking one of those greenery pieces right underneath the ribbon. And no need to hot glue this in place at all. It stays nice and secure right there. And now you have a complete 3-piece set of gifts that you can stage for your area. And that is it, you guys. 3 simple and adorable little gift decor pieces to put on display. Now, you guys, all of these DIYs were so fun to create today, and I hope that I've inspired you to get creative. And you know, I really do love each of these, but let me know in the comments which one of these was your absolute favorite. Oh, listen, I hope that you all were inspired by these creations today and will give these projects a try. Now, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, also be sure to subscribe by clicking on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen and hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.